Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Last week I uploaded a video called Half Grow Tent Update, and I did this half of the grow tent. Today I'm going to show you around this other half here, which has a ton of stuff, so let's get into it. I'm going to start down here because this is sort of a newly set up shelf. Just some standard LED aquarium lighting for this shelf. Nothing really needs too much light, so it's not that intense. But a lot of these are Paphiopedilum or slipper orchids, and they are seedlings. So a lot of them are siblings. So this is Paphiopedilum delenatii, and here's the label. It's from Hillsview Orchids, and I mean these are also from that same batch, and same with these. These are gonna take about a year or two before they bloom, so, and they're gonna get a lot bigger, so I'll probably have to get rid of a lot of these before they end up mature, or I can keep them all and, you know, make space for them. Here I have Paphiopedilum wardii. These are both from the same seed pod. Interestingly though, I got two individuals here that have a different leaf pattern than wardii. So this is what wardii usually looks like. And I got one that looks like this. It'll be interesting to see when these bloom if these are actually Paphiopedilum wardii. But if it is, it's kind of cool that I got these interesting leaf mutations here. I'm still undecided on whether or not I like this though, because I find this pattern of the wardii leaves very attractive, and this one's kind of like absent and more of like a duller green. Speaking of attractive leaves, look at this one. This is Paphiopedilum dayanum, and this one over here is Paphiopedilum javanicum, and more delenatii here. Not much to say other than these leaves are really pretty to look at. They also feel very nice. They're very waxy and smooth. Just to make sure I cover everything, Charlesworthii, Paphiopedilum charlesworthii. These are Paphiopedilum tranlinianum. Same with these and these. These aren't looking too well, but they are recovering. And then I have two Paphiopedilum barbatum's over there. These are hardy ground orchids. I think I made a video a couple months ago showing me picking them out of a bigger pot and putting them in this soil. This is a seedling starter mix, and so I think it's time to add fertilizers because I think the soil is pretty deprived of nutrients. You can see the leaves are kind of yellowing on these, but I mean I didn't really intend to keep this many plants alive anyways. And so this was just kind of a fun, cool thing I was playing around with. Alright, moving on. So this is the bottom shelf, or I guess middle shelf. Still room for stuff down here. I have this little area where I have a couple mounted things. This is Lepanthes leporina. Probably one of my more desirable Lepanthes that I own. And it's called leporina because of the petals, which are these pink parts in the middle. And they look like ears of leporids or bunnies. And then yeah, these are also pretty desirable. This is Lepanthes telepogoniflora. You can see here it's this big orange flower. This one's just opening up, that's why it's kind of wonky, but it'll flatten out once it's fully open. And too bad they're not in bloom right now, but it's very interesting. I seem to have two distinct types. So I got one like this, which is like the very typical telepogoniflora. However, this one and this one, they have significantly smaller flowers, and the flowers stay closer to the leaves. I'll try to post a video of that when they open. But like this one will also be a really big flower, and you can see the inflorescence is very long as well. And then this one I think is also one of the short inflorescence ones with the tiny flower. I personally find this little one more attractive, so yeah, I'll be sure to show you when it blooms. This is Lepanthes ortigae. I think I mentioned in my last video I have like 1 million of these right now because I opened a flask from Ecuagenera. Here is a plant I've had since January. It's Anathalis pachyphyta, and it's got these cute little yellow star-shaped flowers with black, pitch black petals and lip. And they're tiny, tiny. But this thing is really, really prolific and blooms basically all the time once it gets going. And it's growing like crazy too. So that's a cool miniature I have. This doesn't have a tag, but it's Lepanthes minnetii. It's a division from the plant on the other half of the tent and the one in my orchid terrarium. So it just keeps like breaking apart, so I keep getting more and more plants. This one's in spike right there, so maybe we'll see a flower soon. Alright, this is just like miscellaneous Lepanthes keikis, and so I can't really tell you what's in here until it blooms. But yeah, a bunch of Lepanthes. This is, I'm not familiar with this one yet. This one's Lepanthes silicipilla. So I'm not actually sure if silicipilla is a accepted species, but this was an import from Colombian Orchid Imports. It's taken a while to bounce back. I'm not sure if the main growth point is going to recover, but if you can see here, there's all these little roots coming out. And those will eventually be keikis, hopefully. And so if those can recover, that'll be good. Next up, I got a bunch of Masdevallias. Can't remember if I talked about these in a previous video, but these are Masdevallia decumana. These, this, and that. And I was doing an experiment to see what kind of growing medium they might like. Pure moss, pure bark, and then moss bark and perlite. And clearly you can see pure moss with my conditions and how I water them is the winner. Bark is okay, and that moss perlite bark mix is, I mean, that one died, that one's dying, and this one's kind of like meh. So yeah, looks like if I'm gonna grow Masdevallias in not net pots, I should use pure sphagnum moss. And you can see here, it's been so long since I transplanted them that the moss has started to sprout again, so I got some sphagnum there. Pretty nice. This one here is a Pleurathalis. This is Nivio globula, and you can see there's just little white flowers. This thing is a keiki machine, and so you can see here there's a leaf, and it looks like a leaf is growing out of that leaf. Well, that's actually a keiki, or like a clone of the mother plant, and so that's kind of how this thing is propagating itself asexually, so without pollination. And you can see every time you see like a littler leaf that's not the size of this, it's probably a keiki. So like here, let me try. See that? There's a keiki with a bunch of roots. Here, there's a keiki with a bunch of roots, but just one leaf. There's a second leaf here sprouting out. Here's one with 2 leaves and a couple roots. But anyways, yeah, I actually have a couple of them in here. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is something the species does or my plant is just doing it, but yeah, can get hundreds of this thing from just one plant. Pretty cool. All right, moving on. These are Masdevallias. Again, probably can't tell you which is which, but I think this and this is decumana, so this one. And then this whole pot should be Andretana, which is this whole cluster of things right here. So I love this side of the tent because this is my favorite Masdevallia. This like white Masdevallia Andretana. I bought a flask, I think in January, from Marnie Turkel, mostlyspecies.com, I think. And I mean, these things are starting to bloom now, and there's always, something in bloom. And so whenever I look at this wall, it's like this cascade of these beautiful white velvet textured Masdevallias. See here, this one's in spike. But yeah, this is all Masdevallia angitana. See, my original intention was, oh well, I'll buy a flask of these and then I'll, you know, sell out a bunch of them when they get bigger. And then I just decided to keep them. So, yeah, I just have a bunch of these now. And you can see they really like the setup I got going. I don't know if you can tell, these roots look really good. I'm not sure if they show up as nice on camera, but yeah, really good. And I mean, this sphagnum is starting to sprout again, so hopefully it'll cover up all this older sphagnum. But yeah, I really like that. Looks really good. Okay. Yeah, more Lepanthes. This is all Ortigae, these two. So they're just starting to put out bigger leaves now. So these ones I will probably look to try to get rid of them. Either trade them or put them on eBay. This is one of the bigger ones in a pot that I will probably keep. You can see there's a bunch of flowers there. Very cool Lepanthes, with these like filiform looking petals. And this one's just in sphagnum as well. And then I got two more miscellaneous Lepanthes. I'm not gonna go over them. They're also from the Colombian Orchid Imports import, but yeah, they're taking a while to recover. I might be on hold for importing Lepanthes for a while. It just takes too long for them to recover. These are two more Masdevallias. As you can see, I kind of forget to water them a lot, so they're kind of desiccated. But this is Gutulata, or no, not Gutulata, Angulata. Let me just check. Yeah, Angulata. And then the other one is Masdevallia stricta. But yeah, these were a lot bigger than I had anticipated when I purchased them, so that's why they're kind of just like in the back burner corner there for now. Alright, time to stand up. You know, I grow a couple carnivorous plants. I've really cut down my collection. So these are just this is just a takeout container full of sundews. These are Drosera Bermanii. And I literally just sprinkle seeds. This is sphagnum, undrained, and I just keep it wet, and it's bright. And so, here you go, growing sundews 101. Don't fertilize it. I guess they do get some fertilizer when they get drip runoff from the bottom of pots when I'm looking at things, but I literally ignore this, and they're all, you know, they're all flowering, producing seed, and growing like crazy. So cool. This is Arangus fastuosa, and this pot recently fell. Probably should have cleaned that up before I started this video. But yeah, just some small seedlings of a. These have white flowers, and they're I think they're from Madagascar, but they're supposed to smell really nice at night. I have a couple larger plants I'll show you later. This is a Bulbophyllum frostii. Got this for free a couple months ago from someone. Whoop. But yeah, still waiting for it to show any sign of life. I mean, the leaves are still turgid, but there's no new growth, so I don't really know what's going on there. Maybe I'll try dipping this in rooting hormone or something to get it to speed up. All right, these are like my pride and joy carnivorous plants. Those are Nepenthes bassianas, and this is Nepenthes veitchii. These are seed grown by me. This, I'm not sure, I don't remember when I had these, but this one is from 2022. And it was like from some sketchy store on Etsy that I was like, oh, maybe it's a scam, maybe it's not. I don't remember the name of the store. But, I mean, this is clearly veitchii, Nepenthes veitchii, so not a scam. Really slow growing thing, but also really awesome. So, it recently actually opened, let me pick it up again, this picture. It's like uncomfortable angle, but yeah, I mean, look at that peristome. It's nice and bright green with those little, I think, red candy striping they call it. But yeah, really happy with this plant. I cannot wait for it to become an absolute monster and take over the tent. My plan when it gets into a bigger pot is to put it down there where that garbage bin is and just let it like vine up the tent. Bassiana, I might have to get rid of one of the plants because I don't want too many humongous vines in here. All right, the rest of this is going to be slipper orchids mostly. So I'm just gonna, so these are all Paphiopedilum, so I'm just gonna say the species names when I point at these. So this is a Wardii. The color form, I actually just sowed the seed pod for this in tissue culture. I was gonna make a video, and then I couldn't see what I was doing with the phone in the way, so scrap that. But if people are interested, I can show you what sowing them looks like. It's not on soil, it's on sterile agar. This is Paphiopedilum venestum. This one's actually in bud right now. You can see there's a little bud poking up there, and this one actually has a single variegation on every single leaf. Kind of interesting, but I wish it was a little more irregular, because like it kind of looks like a blemish when it's in the same spot on every leaf. I'm curious to see if that will carry forth somehow into the flower. But yeah, that'll be about 2 more months or so. Spicerianum. This thing is kind of a weed in how it grows. It started off as 1 growth, and now it's 3, with 3 more coming. So it still hasn't flowered, but that's okay. Wait for that. Here's a Wardii. This is Wardii album. So alba variety of this, which means it's just a white flower instead of white and green flower instead of the brown it usually is. These are 3 Paphiopedilum vietnamense from 3 different sources. This one actually I got an AOS award for it, American Orchid Society award for it. I think in June or July or something. I saved its pollen, so hopefully when these things bloom they don't look hideous, and I can make a little cross between them for future flowers. These 4 here are Dianums. I think I showed you smaller ones on the bottom shelf there, but you can see these leaves, even when they get big, they're really quite satisfying to look at. And here I have a huge Wardii. This thing is really vigorous. So this was Papa to this seed pod, and this was Papa to this seed pod that I sowed a couple days ago as well. But yeah, this thing put out 5 new growths since January, and it's bloomed 3 times. So really vigorous. I hope it passes that down. Here I have a Spicerianum, Paphiopedilum Spicerianum, and this one also I think is in really low bud. You can see, well, you cannot see apparently on this camera. There's like a little bit of something, the darker spots there, and it's starting to get a little thicker. So that's probably a bud and not a leaf, considering this leaf is so much smaller. I'm so excited to see how that flower turns out. Yeah, and then I just have a whole slew of more Paph seedlings. Let me see if there's any I didn't point out before. So, I mean, these are Fairyannums. They're half alba by half alba, so half of them will bloom out albino. Or sorry, a quarter of them should bloom out albino. These are more Tranlinianum albums. This is a Godfrey, Delenatii, more Spicerianums, Henrianum, Succuculii, Urbanianum. I really like these leaves. They kind of look tessellated almost. Really nice. More Fairyannums, more Spicerianums. These are all Spicerianums. These are Dianums. Javanicum, again, the checkerboard looking one from below. Wardii. These are sibs of the one that had a weird leaf pattern. More Delenatii. This is Barbigerum. This one was from Woodstream Orchids. Came a little bit mucked up, but hopefully it'll recover for me. Appletonianum. This one's also in low spike. I think this is Malipoense. Yeah, Malipoense. This one is from Norman's Orchids, orchid.com. This one is Concolor. You can see the tag here, this big handwriting. It's not mine. It's the eBay seller's writing. This one got a little bit of, I think it was some kind of fungus, but I cut it off and doesn't seem to be moving on to this new leaf here. So I'll cross my fingers, it's okay. And last one here is Tyanum. This one's also pretty vigorous. It bloomed for me last spring, and it's making 4 new growths. So, you know, hopefully it'll bloom again this year. This one looks like it'll be big enough in the spring. And I just got some moss. You know, love having moss. I'm trying to slowly, eventually cover, or I guess it's called top dress these pots all with live moss, just because I like the look of it. And you can water from the bottom to adequately get absorption to the roots of these things. But yeah, so these are all seedlings. A lot of them are on the larger end, and so I'm hoping that they might actually bloom out this fall, because like these Spicerianums here are sibs of that thing and came out from the same flask at the same time. That one just grew way faster. But like some of these are pretty close. Like this one here might be close to blooming. And so yeah, I'm really excited if they could all, you know, reach blooming size at the same time and then shoot out a bunch of blooms for me. I think these Dianums are also pretty close. Yeah, and okay, so last little thing here I have going on this side is this like mounted area. I hope to get some, so my LEDs are right there, and you can see I dappled them and shaded with just like some random DIY stuff. This is like some egg crate diffuser, and then I have this parchment paper, so like really not anything super official. And this is like packaging foam that I just like zip tied to the top, so just to give it a little shade. But anyways, this top part here is pretty close to the light still, and I hope to get some orchids that are more used to more direct bright light in the future. Probably not the near future, but yeah, this whole part is still like empty real estate, and I'm excited to fill out. So these are all Cheiloschistas. These are the leafless orchids. And yeah, I just kind of spray these things with water at night. Or do I spray them? Yeah, I spray them at night. And then they just kind of grow. They just look like roots of your typical Phalaenopsis store orchid, or like grocery store orchid. But see, this one here is in spike, right there. This one's also in spike. So they have really cute circular shaped blooms. So yeah, I think they are winter blooming as well. So these should be blooming in a couple months. Looking forward to that. And then these are the bigger Aerangis fastuosas. I had that pot that I knocked over, and they're growing. Yeah. One issue I had when I put them too close together is their roots were actually attaching to each other. Oh, like this right here. See? Wait. Oh, yeah. The roots were actually like growing and then attaching to another piece of cork. So I have them a little more separated now. So hopefully I won't have to like destroy a bunch of roots again when I pluck them out. I think these should be pretty close to blooming size. I think this is kind of as big as they get. They should be a miniature. So I don't know if they're winter blooming. If they're winter blooming, then maybe we'll get some flowers this winter. If not, then I'll just have to wait for the right season until they bloom. Whew, anyways, well, that's all this stuff on this side of the tent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a future video. Let me know what you think of my plants.